Hi guys, it's Meenu. Welcome back to my channel Storytale. This is gonna be a spoiler-filled review of Gods and Monsters by Shelby Mahurin. This is again the third book in the Serpent and Dove trilogy. This is the last and final book. I've already done a spoiler-free review of the same book, and the link is in the description down below. You can check it out. There were so many things that I wanted to say about this book, and I could not have done justice to it in a spoiler-free review. That is why I've made this separate video so that I can talk in details about this book, about the plot, about the characters and everything. Now, without wasting any more time, let's get into the spoilers. The first and foremost is the possession of Lou. It went on for far too long. I have said the same thing in my spoiler-free review. The possession of Lou went on for far too long. We spent a lot of time with Nicolina and her head. We do not get to see much of Lou in the first few chapters of the book. We get the point of view of Nicolina, and that was not that interesting. The whole plotline of Nicolina possessing Lou did not make much sense to me. It did not do much to the story. It just led from one place to another. That was it. The whole concept of possession and everything felt like a filler to me. It just felt like that was just necessary to fill up the pages. This book was more than 500 pages. So I think that was necessary to fill in the gaps, because again there was not much story to tell. This series was supposed to be just duology. It should not have been a trilogy because there was not much story to tell. The basic plot of this book is that there's a witch and there's a witch hunter. Both of them fall in love with each other even though they are enemies, and in the process of finding love they are supposed to fight these other enemies who basically wants to kill them. That is the basic plot of this book. But that simple plot kind of dragged on for 3 books. In the second book, as a plot, nothing big happened. But as characters, it did a lot. And in this third book, at least the first 50% of the book, nothing happened. People were just talking and things were happening out of nowhere. Just things were happening. Let's talk about Coco for a little while. In the third and fourth chapter of the book, we learned that because of Coco's grief over Ansel, there's this huge cloud which is now covering Caesarine. I think that is the city's name. So that is all over Caesarine, and it was kind of, keeping the city on fire. So that was one interesting plot for me. But nothing happened with that. I mean, that thing was just came out of nowhere and just went nowhere. In the last, yes, it was utilized a little bit, that fire something, because that fire cannot be diminished that easily. But that was the only thing that we get to know about that thing. How that fire was created, why was Coco so powerful, even though we never actually explore her power throughout this book. She, for me, I think has a lot of powers, but we do not get to explore her power. She is more powerful than Lou. But again, her powers were not talked much about in this book. From where she gets her power, what is the reason that she is so powerful. I get that we get a few scenes with her mother and everything, which makes a little bit sense, but still there was so much about Coco's power that does not make any sense. Especially the whole fire thing that just came out of nowhere and just did nothing to the story. And there's also this love story between her and Bo. I get it that she was supposed to end up with Bo, fine, that was okay, but we were supposed to get more of their chemistry, we were supposed to get more of their romance, but we don't get that. In the beginning of the book, there was a little bit friendship that can be seen, especially there was this crying scene where Coco is crying and Bo kind of consoles her. That was a very endearing scene. I really loved that. But after that, in the middle of the book, we jumped to this scene where they were collecting few items, especially this black purse that they needed, and there was this witch which I do not remember where I have seen her in the first or the second book. I do not remember that much. So there was this witch who just appeared out of nowhere, and then she tells them to kiss. And that scene just felt like, I do not know, a cheesy movie kind of a scene. I mean, again, the scene kind of felt forced. Why we're supposed to get this forced scene between Bo and Coco? Why we do not get to see more of them as a couple? After that scene, okay, fine, I liked it. I'm not saying that it was a bad scene. I loved the kiss between them, especially how it escalated. I really liked that. But again, it felt forced, and after that, we do not get to see more of their romance. After that, they are just, acting aloof, and that is all. That is all we get. And in the end scene, we just see her crying over him. But that is all. That is all. We do not get to see her and Bo's chemistry in this book. And I really wanted that. I really wanted to see them as a couple. So I really want that there's a spin-off kind of a book of just Coco and Bo, or maybe a few characters here and there, but still I just want these two characters and I want to read about them, and especially want to read about Coco's power. I think there's much that can be explored there. There's much that can be explored about blood witches. There were so many things about blood witches that we need to know. So I think a spin-off would be a good idea. Like I said, there was many scenes and plots in this book which was unnecessary. There were many scenes during Lu's possession when Reed and everyone was trying to get her free. We get to learn about this creature. I do not remember the name. It starts with C or something. I just Chinchinadi or something. I do not know what was the name of it. But that creature and everything that goes around that creature and the storyline, everything was just so boring and unnecessary. What was the purpose of it again? Like I said, there were so many things that was unnecessary. There were also the scene with Blackwater. Fine. That was interesting scene. I thought it's gonna stay for like 1 or 2 pages, to be honest. I thought they're gonna go to this place which is basically an ocean or river something. So they're supposed to go there and free Lu. So I thought that is gonna be the end of the scene. But no, that again dragged on, because we now then get introduced to these characters who were not present in the first and second book, and also this new species which are basically creatures that live under the ocean. So we get the scenes from there, and then we get to see their storyline, and then after that a new plot starts. So again, that was so much unnecessary. I did not find them interesting. I did not find that they were naked or they were narcissist or something like that. I just did not find that interesting. I did not find anything about that species interesting too. The only thing that could happen was that we get introduced to Coco's mother, but that was it. That could have been done any other way, not by introduce a bunch of species that I do not care about. There was also a confrontation between Morgan and Lu and everyone, but that again did not do much for me. That was not the impact that I liked. Yes, it did bring a very big impact on the story, which was the best part of this book. There was also another thing about water. It is you're supposed to tell the truth when you are drinking the water. So the truth about Lu and Reed was that they were like Morgans because they were also killing for love, and that did not make any sense to me. Morgan was not killing for love. She was killing for a revenge. She was not killing for love. If she loved Lu, then she would have taken a very different route. She would have gone a very different place. She was not killing for love. So of course Reed and Lu are not like Morgan. They are very different people. They kill for each other because they love each other and because that is right. They are not in the wrong here. But somehow that concept is forced upon us that they are like Morgan. They are killing because they love somebody. Morgan is killing people because she loves somebody too. So again, that does not make any sense. But anyway, after this scene, we get to this biggest twist which I absolutely loved. Reed, in order to save Lu from Morgan, he kind of sacrifices his memory. He goes into a coma, and when he wakes up, he does not remember anything about Lu. At the beginning, I felt it was a kind of little bit cheesy, something that has been used a lot, but after that the story kind of picks up. Actually, remember why I fell in love with Serpent and Dove. We get to see Lu back as her character, and we get to see Reed back as his character. Both of them fighting and arguing over things was like the absolute delight. I absolutely loved it. It made me feel nostalgic, and there were also many funny scenes after that. Especially there was this fight between Lu and Reed over sticky buns. I really loved it. It was such a funny scene. Coco calling them children was again very funny. Again, there was a scene where Lu was just saying that I just cannot breathe, and Reed is like, then don't. And I just think that was like very funny. That was like very funny scene. I really loved it. And there was also this horse riding scene where Reed is like, Lu is just sitting in front of him, and he's just trying to control all of this emotion. He's just trying to control his body needs and everything. That was again a very funny scene. Like I said, in the second half of this book went on to another level. That was the kind of book that I needed in Blood and Honey, and from the beginning of this book too. I love the soulmate connection between Lu and Reed. Through Reed's memory loss, we also get to see how much he grew as a person. There was this ongoing theme in the series that Reed would not have fallen in love with Lou if he had known from the beginning that Lou is a witch. But in this book, we get to see that no matter if Reed knew about Lou or not, he would have fallen in love with her anyway because she was his soulmate. I really loved seeing his struggle and his angst when he was finding it really difficult to accept that he is falling in love with a witch. I especially loved their love making scene in this boat. That was very sexy. That was really well done, even though it was very much graphic for a young adult book. But that scene was so amazing. And there was also this scene when they were captured by King's army or something, and that was again a very nice scene. Lou kind of used her magic to make themselves invisible, and they were just having sex in the middle of, you know, everyone and everything. So that was again a very sexy scene. I really loved their romance in this book. It kind of reminded me of their love in the first book, and I fell in love with them all over again. Even the ending of the book was done very well. The stakes were really high. I really was scared for Lou and Bo and Reed and everyone. Few of the characters died in front of us, but their deaths did not affect me as much as Ansel's did. But anyway, there was just one scene in particular which I did mind. There was this one sister of Bo. Her name was, I think, Violet or Victoria. I do not remember which sister, but one of them died at the end of the battle, and she died, and Bo cried over it. Okay, fine, that was okay. But after a few minutes, it felt like they forgot about it. I mean, they were just sitting in this cafe and they were having sticky buns and they were smiling and everything. So that scene kind of lost its impact, because even though they were kind of accepting that everything happened, but they just accepted it a little way too soon. I mean, she died just few minutes ago, and she was Bo's sister, and she was also Reed's sister, I mean half sister. And then in this next scene, they were just sitting and chilling and everything. I mean, not actually very happy or something, but they were just coming in terms with everything. But that was just too soon to come in terms with. You know, if that scene would have happened like after, you know, few days maybe at least, then it would have made sense. But just in few minutes, even the same day, just does not make any sense to me. But anyway, I was really happy with the conclusion and all the happy endings. It tied well together. Yes, there were few loose ends, and I'm going to talk about that later in the video. But still, our main characters, everyone got their happy ending, and that was like the best for me. There's also Ansel in this book. I thought he would not be present after Blood and Honey, but he was there, at least in a ghost way, and I actually liked it. We also get an epilogue with his point of view, and I actually liked it. I really loved his innocence. But again, why is he treated like a kid? He is 17 years old. He's not a kid according to young adult book genre. Then why is he treated like a kid? But anyway, don't care. I loved his point of view. I loved his inclusion. He was a very endearing character, and I really loved his scenes. Now let's get to our likes and dislikes segment. The first and foremost thing that I liked, like I said, is the second half. The second half was very good. It was fast paced. It did everything right, especially with Reed's memory loss, and there were also many scenes that I absolutely loved. The ending was very captivating. It has much higher stakes. I really loved everything about second half, so that was the best part of this book. The second thing that I loved is Lou's and Reed's relationship. I really loved all their love making scenes. I really loved their banters. I loved their dynamic. I loved their soulmate equation. Everything about them was amazing. I loved to see Lou back as her character. I loved to see Reed as his character. Everything was just amazing between them, and I fell in love with them all over again. The third thing that I liked is the happy ending and the conclusion of this book. I love that we get to see a happy ending of Ansel, a happy ending for Lou and Reed, and a happy ending for Coco and Bo. We also get to see a happy ending for Celie and Jean. I really loved all the happy endings. The conclusion again was very great. The epilogue was great. Everything was great about the conclusion. Now the things that I did not like about this book. Like I said, I did not enjoy the first half. It was very unnecessary, especially Lou's position was very unnecessary. Why did it need to be dragged for 50% of the book? I still do not see the purpose of it. The first whole half could have been better. The memory loss could have been introduced a lot sooner, so that we get to see more of Reed's character. We get to see more of Reed's angst and everything. That would have worked much better for me instead of Lou's possession. That was a very boring part. I did not like it. The second problem with this book is the inconsistency in world building. The world building of the series is very weak. I liked the world building in the first book, but with second book it kind of went all over the place. Werewolves were introduced in the second book, which was kind of okay. I'm okay with werewolves. But in this series, dragons were introduced. That again does not make any sense. What is the origin of dragons here? I do not know. There were also people in the ocean or the river. They are called something Melissus. I do not know. I do not know the names or anything, I do not know. But these species were introduced, something about them were told. I did not care about that. From where these species are coming from? We are supposed to get only witch and witch's hunter. They will also find werewolves. But from where these species are coming from? Nobody knows about these species and anything. Where are these people? From where they are coming? Nobody knows. There were also new gods introduced and nobody knows about them anything. So, does anybody know anything about anyone in this book? Does Shelby know anything about these species? Where are these species even coming from? Like I said, there were just too many inconsistencies. People are just popping out of nowhere in this book. The third problem that I had with the story is that there were too many loose ends. We get a happy ending of Lou and Reed. We get a happy ending of Coco and Bo. But there are again many loose ends that need to be addressed. Especially what is going to happen to witches and Chaucers now. Are they going to be friends? It has been implied that Chaucers are going to change their rules a little bit. They are going to protect the innocent now and everything. They are not going to be against witches that much. They are going to be against bad people. But that is supposed to happen to only Caesarine, right? But what about other cities? What about the world around them? What's going to happen to that? And what is going to happen between the church and the witches? Are they going to be working together now? Or something else is going to happen? And what about other species? Where do they fit? And what about the male witches? Where do they fit? In the end of the book, Ansel calls this old woman mother. I think she is the same woman whom we see in the middle of the book, who is the one who gave black pearls to Reed and everyone. So I'm assuming that she is the same woman. But how is Ansel related to her and how is Ansel special? I do not know who is Ansel in the end. I just do not know what is happening with that. We do not get these answers. So like I said, this book is the final book in the series and it does not answer so many questions. So where we go from here? Like I said, this book needs to tie a lot of ends. We get it that this is a happy ending for the characters. But what about the story in total? Where is this story going and what is happening? Shelby needed to answer all this question and she just left it there. So that was again one of the biggest problems in this book. Overall, I have mixed feelings about this book. I loved the second half. I did not enjoy the first half. That is why I have given this book 3.5 stars. So that is it guys. That was my in-depth review of Gods and Monsters by Shelby Mahurin. Do let me know in the comments down below what you think of this book. What are the things that you liked? What are the things that you did not like? And of course, do not forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell icon if you want to get notified of my future videos. Until we meet again, see you.